Met Police Commissioner Mark Rowley has made another intervention. This time he appeared on Sky News and argued against London Mayor Sadiq Khan banning spy tech firm Palantir being used in the city.
You want to roll out AI, right, and power provided by Palantir, the company, to try and speed up tasks in the Met, like, searching through reports, searching through phone data. Sadiq Khan, Mayor of London, said, no, that's not happening. You've been blocked from doing it. And you've warned that the Met faces tough choices as a result. So what does that mean? That stuff like phone theft, what we're talking about, burglaries, it's going to be harder to do because of that?
So one of the challenges I'm wrestling with, besides the challenges on the streets, the sort of things we've spoken about, I'm having to shrink the Metropolitan Police because of our budget. So we've shrunk by 3,300 people in 3 years. We've got to lose another 1,150 people this year. We had a plan to avoid doing any damage to the policing of the streets by using technology to automate behind the scenes, as well as improving what officers could do. Now that's been blocked. We're going to be taking sort of between 500 and 700 officers out of frontline services equivalent.
Well, as a result of
that? As a result of that.
500 to 700?
500 and 700 officers and staff who, well, part of delivering services to London, maybe from call handling through to street policing, we're going to have to be reducing that. That will have an effect on the streets of London. That's why we're trying to do a sort of rapid tech procurement to make a difference for Londoners.
Will it make London less safe? Is that what you're saying?
Well, we're going to be smaller at the end of the year, so it'll be less safe at the end of the year than it was otherwise have been.
Why is Rowley intervening? I mean, Khan is an elected politician who has made a decision with his mandate to block Palantir, a firm which spies on all of us. And it's been integrated into our NHS, taking patient data. It's also been facilitating Israel's genocide, tracking people and providing the state of Israel with AI targeting systems. Now, you wouldn't be surprised to know that Palantir has offices in Israel too. Rowley then goes on to blame Russian and Iranian state actors for what we are seeing domestically.
We saw evidence of bot farms overseas being part of the things that whipping up sentiment here, because that's really dangerous. And we know that Russian state actors, Iranian state actors, they want to sow discord on the streets of the UK. So this is a really complex issue we're wrestling with.
I mean, what a bizarre thing to say. I mean, look, you could argue that Tommy Robinson has links to Russia. I mean, he was spotted in Moscow recently and has been promoting Russian far-right groups. Like, is he acting on behalf of Russia? I don't know. Or is there no connection, but Robinson is simply just promoting fascists wherever he sees them? But Iranian state actors, I'm sorry, but what, is he okay? I mean, there's this newfound obsession with blaming Iran. Of course, this feeds neatly into the imperialist narrative. We're currently at war with them. Our domestic problems are largely caused by domestic actors. Nigel Farage, Rupert Lowe, along with the right-wing media, they are the ones largely to blame. But if you're going to blame foreign actors, Rowley doesn't mention the clear influence of the world's richest man, and now, as of today, the world's first trillionaire, Elon Musk, a man who owns Twitter, who boosts right-wing accounts such as Rupert Lowe. In fact, even Farage is correct. This is what he had to say when he was asked about the threat of Lowe.
When it comes to Makerfield, Restore are doing well here, and it could really help. It could really hurt you. What's Rupert Lowe got that it's appealing to some people over you? Thank you very much.
Elon Musk, thank you. I mean, most people here who say Restore, and by the way, it's not a very big percentage, most people here would not recognise a photograph of him. Right? This is stuff that pops up on their phones. That has been the problem with it. I do not believe for a moment it will last.
I seldom agree with Farage, but he's right. Now, the irony, of course, is that Reform and Musk had links, and the party does benefit from Musk controlling the political debate, because Musk is a fucking Nazi. And Reform obviously want the Overton window to move to the right. It just so happens that Musk doesn't think Reform is radical enough, which is why he's moved his support to Restore. Now, the current CEO of Palantir UK is Lewis Mosley, and I kid you not, he is the grandson of fascist Oswald Mosley. It runs in the family. Oswald used to do domestic fascism, and Lewis is doing global corporate fascism. This is Mosley admitting himself the IDF used Palantir on Channel 4.
There's some controversy as to whether or not your software has been used in Gaza post-October the 7th. Was it or was it not used?
So this is, again, another example of some of this misinformation that circulates online. So, I mean, as you'll know, there are 2 systems that are reported to be used by the Israelis in Gaza for targeting purposes, neither of which we're involved in.
So your software was not used categorically in any post-October the 7th operation in Gaza?
So the 2 systems that have been publicly reported to have provided the targeting in Gaza, neither of them use Palantir software.
But Israel and the IDF do use Palantir software?
That's correct.
Is it the case that they might not tell you that they're using it in operations in Gaza? Would it not seem unusual that they weren't?
I can give you an example of the kind of work we do support. Well, our software was used to identify, track and locate missing hostages.
But had nothing to do with tracking down terrorists?
Neither of the 2 systems that were used for targeting used Palantir software.
So you can say that categorically?
Yes.
But you do know it was used to track down hostages?
Yes.
Straight from the horse's mouth, though, Mosley claims that the software is only used for tracking down hostages. He's also very careful with his language. He said there are 2 systems, Lavender and the Gospel, where Palantir is not used. But what about other potential systems? We don't know, because it's a secret. However, Mosley categorically says it was about locating hostages. Is he telling the truth? According to Open Intel, a platform tracking corporate involvement in the Gaza genocide, Palantir has actively recruited veteran members of Israel's cyber intelligence wing, Unit 8200, after agreeing to what its website refers to as a strategic partnership with Israel in January 2024. The company significantly stepped up its operations in Gaza and the occupied West Bank, combining various datasets from intercepted communications, satellites, and other online data to compile targeting or kill lists for the Israeli military. A kill list? I mean, that doesn't sound like rescuing hostages, does it? Let's go back to Rowley. So the Met doesn't intervene in political conversations. Right? They're supposed to be impartial. Yet we now have 2 instances where Mark Rowley has intervened. I mean, he doesn't intervene when Nigel Farage claims there is 2-tier policing. And you'd have thought if Rowley is happy to comment, which he obviously is, he would defend the police. But there's nothing on that. Yet Rowley has intervened when Zach Polanski did a retweet when a random Twitter account criticised the police. You know, a man who leads a party that has called out the genocide in Gaza. And then Rowley has intervened again when Sadiq Khan announces London will block the use of Palantir, a firm that has strong links to Israel. Now, we've covered multiple times that the link between Mark Rowley and the Met Police and Israel, you know, the same police who won't investigate Britons who fought in the IDF to see if they committed war crimes. So it begins to make sense. Helena, from where I'm sitting, it's hard not to conclude that Rowley intervening once again seems more to do with protecting Israel than keeping the streets of London safe.
Are you trying to tell me, guys, let me just hold on 1 second. Are you trying to tell me that someone who was appointed to be head of the Metropolitan Police might be slightly right-wing? Is this what we're going? Is we getting here?
Possibly, maybe. I'm not making any allegations here, but well,
I wonder what it gets up to in his off days. But anyway, I shouldn't be surprised. I mean, the issue, of course, is that the police have always had this kind of pretense as being a neutral institution, and of course they never have been. Again, under capitalism, the police are specifically there to be able to mediate class conflict between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie, and of course, with that comes all of the other trappings of capitalism, which, of course, having to defend that is a right-wing position. So it should be no surprise to see, at the very least, that there are sympathies with the Metropolitan Police Commissioner with the right wing. Right? I shouldn't be surprised with this kind of stuff, but it is so brazen, it's so obvious when you look at the way in which he responds to things, where there's radio silence, direct criticism of the police coming from the political right, direct criticism about the way in which that they operate in their internal procedures and what their officers have been doing. He doesn't comment at all. And yet, again, as you say, a singular retweet warrants an entire open letter intervening in the political process from somebody who is supposed to be politically neutral. And again,
procurement, actual product procurement, should be politically neutral as well. Because again, he wasn't just criticising the idea that these targeting systems were being procured by the state for the police, because there are plenty of other companies that could do it. You don't have to use Palantir. But for some reason, he's intervening with Sadiq Khan specifically over the nature of the fact that it's a deal with Palantir. That seems very strange to me. Whereas you could go, well, it's up to politicians to decide who they do procurement with, what their moral or ethical lines are in terms of ethical procurement policy. As long as they provide us with extra things that we can do to do our job, that's fine by me. I don't really care which company it is. But for some reason, when it's Palantir, he's just immediately coming out to defend it. Seems a little bit suspect to me, doesn't it, Curtis?
100%. I mean, like, I also find it strange. Like, first of all, about Sadiq Khan, like, we have many criticisms of him, but he does something that is so unbelievably base, which is like, yeah, we're not having Palantir. It's a spy tech firm, and obviously not just to do with the genocide in Gaza, but like they've been through our NHS, they've been given contracts, and they have our patient data. Despite the fact that Faiza Shaheen and Louis Mosley, I don't know how to say his first name, was on BBC Politics Live, and she was pressing him on it, and he was basically sitting there saying, "Oh no! We'll work with countries that abide by the law, Israel, and we're not, taking everyone's patient data in the NHS." You're obviously doing that. It's absolutely insane. What I thought was really interesting though is Mark Rowley saying, "Well, if we don't use Palantir, it's gonna lead to job cuts." Can you please explain this to me? Because I thought automation and AI meant job cuts, but he's saying, no, we need more automated systems to keep jobs. What the hell does he mean by that?
Beats me. I have no idea what he means there. Because, yeah, again, in my mind, AI means that there are fewer human people interacting with the service, right? I mean, maybe he's saying that by removing people from backroom staff or whatever the AI is doing, that means fewer bobbies on the beat. Maybe that was the point that he was making, but it didn't seem to be the point that he was making to me. I can't make heads nor tails of it. But I mean, broadly, again, like, all of this to defend a company which named itself after the literal, like, fucking Bond villain of Lord of the Rings, Saruman's evil, all-seeing eye. Like, how much more obvious do they have to make it? Come on, honestly. And again, it's worth pointing out that even if they're not directly involved in the genocide in Gaza, they absolutely do assist the IDF in maintaining their occupation of the West Bank, which is fucking illegal. That's illegal, right? The idea that seems to have got in our heads in this country, at least the political class and our media class have got into their heads, is that the only thing that's bad is the way in which they've destroyed Gaza. No, the occupation of Palestine is the bad thing. That's been happening for, coming up to
80 years, isn't
80
it?
years, exactly. It's an incredibly long-scale illegal occupation of Palestine that they've been engaging in. Any amount of engagement with that is terrible. I bring up this fact consistently on stream because it doesn't seem like it's being brought up anywhere else. One of the companies that has been given license to drill in Rosebank oil field, Ithaca Energy, is owned by Delek Group, an Israeli oil and gas company, an oil and gas conglomerate, which explicitly funds and supports energy infrastructure in not just the occupied West Bank more broadly, but in illegal Israeli settlements, right? Actual, like, land theft being carried out by Israel. And the idea that we should accept our oil and gas, that's a gas that belongs to this country, being used to help generate revenue for war criminals, international criminals over in Israel, again, it's sickening. Again, the idea that we should be allowing our country's resources to be used, whether it's giving money to Palantir, money to Delek Group, or giving money to anybody who is complicit in not just Israel's genocide, but in Israel's occupation, again, it's indefensible. It's totally indefensible.